Islam Moorish. Look, Sharon's all natural today. And I'm all natural today because even though I had a thought to have my turban on, when I was running out the house all late, as you can see, really, really late, as I was running out the house, I left my turban home, and I just been all waxy doodle. So I left my turban home, and I'm a little itchy, and I gotta go put my my halt on, because I only been here for like literally 2 seconds, and I have a mosquito bite. 2 seconds, mosquito bite. So I'm a little bit upset about that. Anyway, this is our first class that we're having here in Vineland, New Jersey territory. Vineland, New Jersey territory. We are here declaring and proclaiming nationality for the Moors and having our first official class here in Vineland. And I think I got another bug messing with me over here. See, I'm gonna have to put my halt on. Definitely gotta put my halt on. And Fatima's gonna be mad because she's gonna have to walk all the way back over there and get my halt. The halt is awesome. Awesomeness. I told you about this like 2 weeks ago. So you can stop the bugs from eating you. And I made sure I put it in my bag because I knew I was gonna be at the park. I knew I was gonna be at the park, and I didn't want to be getting all bit up. So Sharon is here. Paxa Tamor. This is our first class in Vineland, New Jersey. Islam, Islam, Islam. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. And Fatima has to walk all the way to fruit back there to get the halt. Because if we don't put halt on, Sharon's gonna be sitting here straight pissed. Look, you got halt's in the bag. I should have bought the bag. And then
why you didn't bring the bag?
Can I tell you, while I was walking down here looking for chairs, looking for a table to set up, I'm sitting here like, I'm walking so far from the conveyance.
Yes.
That conveyance is like half a mile down the road.
Did you get the keys? Bring the conveyances back.
I know that's right. Bring them back up. It's like a mile down the road. I know next time this is where I'm parking. Right next to the beaches and next to the table. There.
Parking lot.
That's so
all day long.
All day long. And I'm sitting there all the way down there like, where the heck can I set up? Because, you know, I'm late as hell. Anyway, Islam Benny, got a bunch of people on here. Islam Azil. Azil, we're going to have a meeting probably tomorrow. I meant to send a text message between you and one other individual. Said that he knows how to do web design. So I'm going to set up a, what do you call it? A free conference call before the free conference call tomorrow at 3 o'clock, which is for lean, how to complete the lean. It'll be instructions on how to get it done. Oh God, how to get it done, how to search the information on the internet, and where to put all the information. Islam, I was like, because we have specific templates for the actual liens, but if you want to make some adjustments based on what needs that you have in the particular territories that you're in, go for what you know, Morris. Go for what you know. But we have the template. The template for the lien is what? Let's see who knows what the lien template is. What is the number? What's the affidavit number for the team template? Does anybody know that? We're going to give prizes. When people answer right, I'm going to send $5 note PayPals. How about that? That'll spark your interest. Be like, oh, now you can't go look. You gotta already know what the affidavit of Universal Commercial Code 1 financing statement lien is. So you can't go look. You got 20 seconds to fucking. Oh, did I just say
yes?
Yes, I did. You got 20 seconds to look at to write down the number of the affidavit for processing the liens. So you got 20 seconds. You got the top. You got the timer.
Hold on.
20 seconds. If you get the lien, you have to drop your PayPal, and I'll send you 5 notes for PayPal if you get the answer to that question correctly. So again, Azil, the meeting I want to have, I got to send you the message out just to make sure you know. I want to have the free conference call meeting tomorrow between 1 and 12 and 1 o'clock afternoon time. So you gotta let me know if that's convenient for you, or if it has to be a little bit later than that. Look, I'm getting beat up.
Stop.
Huh?
Do you want me to start now?
Yeah, start. No, it started like 10 seconds ago.
Okay, go ahead.
You got 10 more seconds. Islam. And here's the other craziness. Like, I made some adjustments to the UCC. To the grid and outline. I made some adjustments to the grid and outline. Who enforces the liens in the federal Article 3? Okay, what? Come to the lien class tomorrow. We'll talk about all of those things. What was that? I know I'm getting bit up too. I changed some of the grid information and how it's presented on the grid. Now I merged the thing that I merged, and anytime that I created anything new for the liens, I put NEW for new, so you knew that was a new either affidavit or process to be aware of. Okay. Okay. So Tier 4 and 5 were merged. Tier 4 and 5 were merged. That was the removal of de facto courts cases to the Moorish American Consulate and the National Human Trafficking, because that's all one process. So those two were merged into Tier 1, and based on what it is that you particularly might want to do, some people do the notice of removal case to get it officially removed from that tribunal, and then others want to do the affidavit of fact writ of discovery, which is affidavit what? A020. It's affidavit 20, 21, and 22. Affidavit 20 and 21 and 22. Those three affidavits for those unlawful tribunals and those unlawful bond debt notes we're going to talk about. We got a lot to talk about, y'all. I just got to let y'all know we got a lot to talk about. And but affidavit 20, 21, and 22, those are what you would file with the so-called case, which is a debt bond, with their tribunals to declare and proclaim who it is that you are and challenge their jurisdiction, as well as discovery for which they are attempting to hold you on. Now, give me a second while I put my halt on. Because like I'm saying, I don't like to be all bit up. Because, you know, the parks, this is the halt. Ooh, I put the wrong one in my bag. Put the wrong one in. This not halt. That's the rose lotion. That's the, oh man, I'm be crying, y'all. Oh man. Okay, let's, ancestors, please don't let me get bit up. That's all I can say.
We're going to get some stuff. We're going to get some stuff.
I bought the wrong. I don't know. I was rushing, y'all.
I can't touch him.
Huh?
I can't touch him.
Okay. So where are we at? So, yeah, affidavit 20, 21, and 22. Whenever they try or attempt to issue a bond for you, because when we think about bond, let me tell you, someone posted a video earlier today about the matriarch, and there's two versions of that video. It's a 1 and a 2 version of that video, and it was a very, very great video. I implore you to watch that video. It was a Taj Tariq Bey video, and it talked specifically about the matriarch, as well as bond debts, as well as us operating in fraud, and that being the biggest issue. That being the biggest issue known to me. He got to show the back of his t-shirts. We got to get a producer for these things. Like, yeah, I'm about, y'all, somebody was like, where are we going to order these shirts? I'm like, look, I'm about to give y'all the template. Y'all can order wherever you want.
He's showing the back.
There you go,
shirt.
even though it's backwards. That's the Sharifi and Peace Officer's shirt. That's the front. And he was showing you the back, the Sharifi and Peace Officer shirt. So those will be in production really, really soon for Moors to have those while standing on their square. Okay, so Tier 4 is what I spoke about just recently. That's Tier 4. Islam Thomas, how are you? Tier 5. Tier 5 is now completing the affidavit of Universal Commercial Code 1 financing lien process. That is Tier 5. Oh, how you doing?
How you doing?
That is Tier 5. That is a developing tier. Again, we're going to have class tomorrow, 3 p.m. on free conference on Sharon Tracy Galbay's free conference call link. That is tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern time, and it's going to be a recorded call. I'm going to download it and upload it to the YouTube channel so everybody have access to it who might not be able to be at the call, but it's just on how to complete the lien, where to send it, how to complete it, where to get the information, and where to fact check. Now I asked about them shirts. I know, was it you, Erin? So with the Tier 5 starts with Nobody put it down. Affidavit number 6. It was affidavit number 6, which is the affidavit of Universal Commercial One financing statement lien. That's the first affidavit for processing liens on these corporations as well as these United States citizens, which are an illegal presentment. To even present yourself as a United States citizen is fraud, an inducement to fraud, to answer to it. It's fraud to act in that capacity or to even answer to it. I'm going to say that again. It's fraud to act in that capacity or even to answer to it. I'm gonna say it one more time. It's fraud acting in that capacity, and it's also fraud answering to it. Which is, and this is why Light posted a post earlier today, and I thought it was really good, and I'm going to read it because it was telling you why the mantra is so important, not answering any questions, not passing the bar, all of those things, when under threat, duress, and coercion and fear, individuals appear or make these special appearances into these tribunals. Okay, I'm going to go look for that that post because she was specifically speaking of. I gotta kundalini it. Here we go. Nope, that's not it. Here it is. It was a picture of a gavel and a placard that said judgment. So in this post, she said the reasons why personam jurisdiction statements work when repeated without saying anything else is because the foreign Christian European Albion subjects fail to win at using deception to coerce or threaten us, Moorish American nationals, into yielding our sovereign authority. And as we continue successfully keeping and wielding our sovereign authority instead of consenting to give it up to them, it is impossible for them to wage war on us. Lack of our consent to yield our sovereign authority makes us peace and in the flesh. And as we know, first, we are love for ourselves and our nations, peace, peace in the flesh. And as we know, wait a minute, where did I go? And then truth, we are the law in the government. And then we are peace personified. And then we are freedom for ourselves, nation, our heirs, fallen humanity, and the estate. And now we are justice as our ancestors, right? So in regards to the whole peace, right? Because the Albions is warring against us, right? Why are they warring against us? Well, because we're outside of law, right? Mm-hmm. We're outside of law, so they're warring against us because we're acting in a capacity that was not meant for us, was meant for them. That corporate ward status. It was not meant for us, but because we don't know ourselves through the social engineering and the propaganda, we've been identifying under those nom de guerres and answering to the fraud. So if you're answering to a fraud in a nom de guerre that you know is not you and not your birthright or bloodline, regardless of how you identify, acting in a capacity of being called black, acting in a capacity of being called African American, colored, Negro, all of those nom de guerres with those Christian names, is an inducement to fraud, even though you did not know, and it wasn't fraud in the first intent. Like, you know how they'll say the count one, what is it, first degree murder? It wasn't like fraud in the first degree because you didn't agree to it knowingly. You didn't knowingly say, okay, I want to be a nom de guerre Christian Black Codes war name. I didn't know that I was doing that. So that's where it's not in the first degree. It's kind of like manslaughter, like it's by accident because you didn't know who you was. And I'm just using those as examples to kind of get you how we were in the fraud. We're identifying as the fraud, and they're creating bonds. They're creating debt bonds on us while utilizing those fictitious corporations, right? We didn't create it. We didn't establish them. However, it doesn't stop us from having responsibilities, not identifying outside of our pedigree and our nationality. I know somebody asked a question earlier today, and it was in regards to, well, how do you live? Well, there's a lot of things being held from you. They're not only being held from you from the Albions through the way that they have educated you, but it's also being held against you from a lot of different Moorish organizations, Moorish in general, who are holding the information from you as if they have a right and a duty to do so. And I say that, and I won't mention names of any source, but we should not at all, at any stance, be charging Moors for the liberation. So it's like, okay, you know, mother, she fell, she bumped her head, she doesn't know who she is, and her sons, as well as Asiatic women, but primarily his sons, have been selling her back her history, selling her back her culture, but distorting it to their benefit, right? So how is it a distortion? Well, we know, you know, all creation starts with womb, starts with woman. So the fact that they've been putting that overtone of a patriarchy over top of our matriarchal society has put them in a favored position over top of the Asiatic woman, therefore pushing down the information to her as she can afford it, and if she can't afford it, she's not privy to it. I was like, so that's where the sons are in complete breach of trust, breach of culture, breach of, I mean, I could go on and on and on, because the most things that I look at when I'm on social media, I'm watching different videos, and I'm learning and gaining knowledge of self and knowledge of what happened. One of the things that's staying truth to positive is the narrative and what narrative that is being painted. Because when you look at a lot of people who are doing the research and who are educating you and you're gaining knowledge on self, it's patriarchal from the start to the finish. You never see a woman, you never see a Moabitess. Whenever they're talking about conquering and warring, it's all men and it's all males. And the other day I was talking to Light and Fatima, and I was like, where the women at? They just, where they at? I'm like, but when you look at any of the real they call it relics, right? When you look at the statues and you look at all of these things from ancient times, women were represented everywhere. They were standing, either they were standing right next to her, or mother was sitting on the throne. But when you go to the actual history, she's completely out of that whole picture. Through creation, through womb, the whole nine. Like, we've been hypothecated not only by the ambiance, but sons, y'all done hypothecated the heck out of us as well. And it's like a struggle between, no, mom, we don't want to give it back. Well, you got to give it back because mom needs her tools in order to uplift fallen humanity, and you're standing in the way, and she can literally napalm your ass if you don't get out the way. And she's at that point where she's about to do that. Islam?
Islam.
So one of the things that one of the reasons why I'm saying it in this manner, because I did a video a while back that everybody should definitely, if you haven't tuned into it, watch it. It was called Fix the Sin Your Mother Put You In. It was called Fix the Sin Your Mother Put You In. And that sin did start with mother, but she had a little bit of help. Inducing not only herself to fraud, but putting her children in perpetual slavery. She didn't do that by herself. And I'm saying she didn't do that by herself because all of these institutions that are within our own communities are run by the patriarchal mindset in our sons. And because it's run by the patriarchal mindset in our sons, many of them are in these secret societies, they're perpetuating the lies and taking mother's tools from her so she cannot defend herself. And how are our sons doing that, whereas though we can't defend ourselves? If we don't know self, if we don't know law, we can't teach you it. If we don't know self, if we don't know law, we cannot teach you this. And if we are left at a deficit, sons, by the very definition, so too are you. You can never, I see this a lot, you can never rise higher than your mother. And that's true. So while we're kicked down, so is you. I was like, but at the same time, how can you claim to have the answers? How can you claim to have the answers in knowing that you have produced a particular process for Moors to do when you're asking an astronomical amount of fiat in order to get the process, whether or not that's to a son or to an Asiatic woman? Right? So, and we have to use our discernment Moors when people are charging us an astronomical amount of fiat for processes One thing that you should ask yourself is, if this process is so great and will free our nation, one, why are you charging me a whole heck of a lot of fiat for it? And if it's working and you're living allodially, why are you asking for fiat at all? That's a question that I always ask, like a question I always ask, because the realities are, most people say they have the answers. The answers is unity. That's the biggest answer. It's not only unity, it's us coming together and realizing, with the activation of the gold standard, with us right at the door, literally the door is open for administering your estate allodially. Why is it that there's still Moors out there pushing fiat and pushing administrative processes through the corporate state? You have to ask yourself that question. Are we dealing with the lower self? Are we dealing with the fears that we have? Because right now everybody got to get in line to wherever they are. So if you fear the corporate state, you're going to stay there and just be like, I'm scared, I'm going to stay where I'm at, I'm fine. Or you're going to sit here and realize that it's not just you that you need to be thinking about and worrying about, it is your heirs. You can't sit here and say that you love your heirs and you're not going to do anything to protect them. Because right now, those heirs that you have are chattel property of the corporate state, and you did that, mothers. But sons, you could have stopped that by giving her the knowledge that she needed to secure her and her children. And you can't sit here and say that you love her and you love us and your nation while you're holding the information that she needs to free not only her, but to also free you. Because your freedom comes through her, you can't have it without her. It's a yin and yang. And why can't you have it without her? Because you come from her. And because she's the true sovereign. And you're sovereign through her. Which means it's conditional. Your sovereignty is conditional, sons, and you got to realize that. Like, if you choose to go out